how these randoms keep getting jobs. Don't worry about it. I'm going to say, I can't wait to say it. I love it. I love it. Go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the NotBland Show. I'm your host, Dujane Bland, and of course, we're powered by SportsJourney.com, and we're going to kick this show off right. It is Hull'KaMania time, and I'm super excited to have him on. He is the driver of the what was the last race was the Down syndrome car. They had a really nice partnership with them. But he's mainly the Methanol Moonshine car, and he's the owner of Buddy Hall Racing. Buddy, what's going on, brother?
What is going on? Hey, there's nothing bland about this show. Thanks for having me. I watch your show, and I can always appreciate it, and it's an honor to be on.
Yeah, man, I had to have you on before the season was over, and you guys had 8 races, and the conditions you guys had to go through. You're not running every race. Mike and the crew did an incredible job all season long, but just talk about how difficult it was, because there were times where qualifying was one temperature, then race day was a completely other temperature. And that's got to be tough for a team that doesn't race every race and then doesn't have the ability to test at will.
Yeah. 2023 was certainly a year of challenges in many ways, but here's what I can tell you. The challenge means learn. And everywhere we went this year, we learned something, and it was all positive. Even when we made mistakes, it was all positive. You mentioned Mike Uger. Mike's done a great job at putting me in a good race car, keeping me safe. We only heard a couple engines this year, and we just did a great job, Yes. Finished season in Dallas. We qualified with 78. And then first round against Team Torrance with a 73, which is really respectable. And I really can't ask much more out of my car. I mean, that's a great run, or a great series of runs for our race car. But man, you're right though. The conditions we had. I mean, it was really interesting. From Friday, Saturday, Sunday at a couple of races we went to, the temperatures and the conditions were just so variable. It was insane. But a major factor in performing in those conditions is something that we don't have, which is a lot of runs. And the teams that have that full-time budget, that test on Monday and that race every race and that test the offseason, they do have an advantage because they have data from those environments. Environment meaning, track temperature, air temperature, water grains, barometer, adjusted altitude, all the things that we look at to tune our race cars. And we just don't have all that data. But with what we had, all I can say is hats off to my team. Hats off to my supporters, my sponsors, and anybody else that was cheering me on this year. Thank God for those NHRA fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Love those people.
I mean, they came out in droves too. I mean, they really packed the house pretty much every weekend. Even through the weather, through the rain, through the delays, they hung in there, and it's really nice to see. It kind of reminds me of growing up, in the 80s, where people just hung out. You know what I mean? It didn't matter if it rained. You went back to your RV and you chilled out until the rain stopped. And when you heard the cars going again, you went back to the track. It was phenomenal. And with your season, I was just so impressed of each and every week how you guys just found ways. Even when, you made mistakes, those same mistakes didn't get made the next time. And it was just really cool to watch. And what we talked about when you were on the other show that I had, the breakdown, just your perseverance and your positive attitude, it really shows. And it also shows in your team, especially in the preparation that you guys had week to week.
Yeah. And that's what it's got to be. I don't do this to to lose, that's for sure. And I don't want to do it and not have fun. So my attitude will always remain the same: win, lose, or draw. Even when you get mad, you gotta, get a little upset about something. You just gotta ask yourself one thing, right? Are you honored and blessed to be out there doing it? And the answer is always yes. And that's when you immediately got to adjust your own attitude and put yourself back in that place and give yourself perspective. Because, one day, just for the heck of it, I was sitting here and I said, I want to do the real math, and I want to see what percentage of the world actually gets to do what we do. Okay. You ready for this? If you
Yeah.
go decimal point, 12 zeros and a one, that's the percentage of the world that gets to run NHRA Top Fuel.
Oh, that's sick.
All right. Does that put it into perspective? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
hey, it's really cool. It's a blessing. It's all of the things that I think that sometimes we forget, especially when we get really deep into the mix and we're fighting the fight, if you will. You got to look at perspective. And winning's important. Winning's really important. Performing is just
Absolutely.
super important. But when you don't win and you don't perform, you got to look at perspective. You got to find other ways to win. And that means just because you don't want to win the race or win the round, you have to find other ways to win. You have to look at every part of what you're doing and ask yourself, did you improve that time out? Meaning that time out to the racetrack or that run or that race or whatever. And I think it's super important. And I think that's what makes a winner a winner. I always look at people in life that have persevered and came from nothing, or have failed a lot in the past and became somebody. And there's a few people that really stick in my mind. I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan. It's no secret. I wear Jordans everywhere I go. That's what I do. I climb roofs in Jordans. People think I'm nuts, but it's what I do. And I wear them at the racetrack and all the things, right? And then look what he started with. Didn't make his basketball team the freshman year and said, screw you, coach, I'm going to show you. And look what he did. And then, right here in the flesh, look at John Force, real in the NHRA, the guy that was raised with nothing, and the guy that said, I'm going to drive a funny car, and did a really, really, really bad job at it for so many years. And it's not a secret. He talks about it. And look who he's became. He's became unquestionably the best funny car driver of all time. And I don't think anyone in history is ever going to beat him. I just don't see it happening. I may be wrong, but I don't think so, man. I think he's, in fact, the greatest of all time. And those are just two people that anyone can relate to that's listening to this podcast that could say came from nothing and became something big. And so I've always modeled my life after those people. I don't know their daily routines. I don't know all the insight, but what I do know is the broad strokes of what they've done in their life. And the big part of it is deciding they're going to do something and doing whatever it takes to get there, as long as it's not illegal or unethical.
Right.
And that's what I do. That's what I do.
And what I've noticed as well, that love and that passion for the sport has really spilled over into the fans. And you are just, to me, just like a John Force, just like any of the other guys. I mean, people just come up to you because of your personality, and that it's infectious. And what have you learned about yourself this season, going through the 8 races?
Man, I've learned I can go a lot of days without sleeping. How about that? I've learned that I can sit up in my lounge in my trailer and run my business. No, that's not really what I've learned. I knew I could do that. Here's the deal. Here's what I've learned. I've learned that it's important to keep the people around you tight. It's important to know who's on your team and who's off your team. It's important to recognize talent and always make sure that you let them know that you've recognized them as a talent. And it's important to get rid of those who aren't on your team. It's important to get rid of people in your life that aren't in your circle. And that goes for drag racing. That goes for your business. That goes for your personal life. I've always said this, and it just in the last year of my life, it's really came true. If you can't be confident that the people around you aren't saying great things when you're not there, then get them out of your life, get them off your team, get them out of your company, plug people in that will, and earn it too. Don't just expect it, earn that, right? Be a good enough person and be a smart enough person and whatever to get the respect that you want and need. But if you're being that person and you're not yielding the respect that you earn, then you just need to get rid of those people in your life and plug more good people in, because we all know iron sharpens iron. And the better we want to be, or if we want to get better, we got to surround ourselves by people that are better than us. And I just said this on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. You know, in my life, I've been blessed to be surrounded by good people, and I pride myself on finding good people. You know, that's a talent that I do have, is spotting talent. You know, and so I've been blessed to surround myself by people that are a lot better at me than a lot of things. And so in a lot of cases, I give those people all the credit and say, hey, they just make me look good. Um, and so I've learned that sometimes you got to tighten up your circle. Sometimes you really got to assess who's on your team. And that's just what it is. And it's all positive, you know. And for anybody listening, if you're starting to doubt yourself, instead of doubting yourself, look around, look at your circle. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, Kareem said in a championship game in the locker room that if you weren't for this team, that you needed to get out of the locker room. And I'm losing some of the expletives, but he said you need to get out of the locker room. And I agree with that 100%. You gotta surround yourself with people that are not afraid to tell you, hey man, that's not a good idea. You might want to go in a different direction. And you also want people that are also happy when you do succeed. And I go to the moment, that 3.739 second pass at 324.42 miles per hour as success. I want to know, on that run, could you feel that it was good?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've been, for 17 years now, I've been driving race cars, and it's a good one, and when it's a bad one. And I got to tell you, whenever I got down there and the shut down and got the fuel pump shut off and I got the chutes out and, got on the brake and the car settled down, I literally said to myself, undoubtedly, unquestionably, that is the quickest run I've ever made. Speed, I'm indifferent about, but you can feel when your car's quick, when it's quick. And I knew it. I mean, it was so smooth and so aggressive, and it pulled so hard out there in the middle. I knew it was the quickest run I ever made. And as a matter of fact, I helped out of the car, and I knew Steve beat me. I had the best seat in the house to watch Steve Torrance kick my butt, right? But here's the deal: I still knew it was quick, and I came flying out of the car, and I went over to Jason Galvin. I said, "What a run! I know it was fast." He's like, "Yeah, it was. It was a 73." And I said, "I knew it," because
Yeah.
I'm pretty in touch with my race car. I still work on my car, and I'm very hands-on. I understand every part and piece on the car, um, meaning how they work and what it's supposed to do. And so I believe that's good for a driver to know, because then you understand your race car better. You know why it did what it did, or why it didn't do what it was supposed to do. And so yeah, man, I knew it was quick. That's all I'm going to say. I knew it was quick. I knew it was absolutely badass.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, coming into looking at 2024 now, to me, I don't think anybody works harder in a better presentation, or someone that a sponsor should need to get behind other than you. What is it looking like here in 2024? You've had some great partners come on. The Down syndrome partnership was really cool. You going to have a bigger schedule next year?
We hope so. We're working hard, and we may have some major changes. We want major changes. I want to progress in my racing career. It's no secret. I've made that very clear. My dream is to be able to run a full-time schedule, and to have a chance to be in the countdown and take a shot at that. And so we work hard towards that every day. I have in-house marketing and sponsorship team, and they literally work on it every day, all day. That's what they do. It's not easy. And thank God for those people. We really had a great trip at SEMA. It was short and sweet. It was just 2 days, but we went out there and met with some potential partners, and we met with some of our current partners. And I can say that every single person we had on board this year is most certainly on board next year. And there's a lot more. And of course, we're,
awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we're really looking forward to getting to a point where we're going to run that full season. So I can't make any announcements yet. I don't want to spoil it, but you'll be hearing about what we're up to in the next month or so. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. And we'll have you back on to discuss that too. I really hope you can get out to Gainesville, man. I really do.
Well, no matter what, I'll be in Gainesville. I'm just I'll spoil that and say I'm gonna be in Gainesville. I don't care. I don't care if I'm running in the BMX class. I'm gonna be in Gainesville.
That'll work, man. It's that being the first race of the season, it's a whole nother level. Covering that Gainesville for a while now, and it's been the first race of the season. You can the energy's just different. I love it though. I love it. It's something else.
We'll be there.
My goal here is to one day warm up a Top Fuel dragster.
Okay. All right.
Just got to find the right person to let me do it.
Okay. All right. Well, dreams come true.
Yeah. Just got to keep working at it, right?
Dreams come true. Right place, right time, right situation. Dreams come true.
Yes, sir. And I want to ask you before we close, who you got for the championships? World finals here. Who's your champions?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to say it because I really enjoy everyone in the Top Fuel class, and I can say that there's, in no sort of way do I have an angled friendship towards one of them that I, want to see them win. But I will say this. I'll say that Doug Coletta has earned the right to be a world champion. All the years he's been out here, running these cars and working with Connie and kind of getting older and maybe not having a whole lot of time left right out there with his nephew. To be at the racetrack, those two together, for Doug to win a championship, I think would be a true fairy tale and a dream come true for so many. And the truth is, I can't see one Top Fuel driver, including the driver that gets second place this year, being too upset if Doug Coletta win the championship. He's such a likable guy. I don't think he has an enemy in the world. And in my opinion, he's earned it. I'm not saying that Steve Torrence hasn't earned it or isn't incredible, but he has a few championships and he's got a lot more years left to win more. I'm not saying Leah hasn't earned the right to be a world champion, but she has a lot of years left to earn one. And but man, I always say I lead with my heart, and my heart just says it'd be the coolest thing in the world to see Connie and Doug, just celebrating their butts off because Doug finally won that championship.
And I want to see him do it in the Tony Schumacher fashion. He's got Alan Johnson. I want to see it done in that fashion. It would be amazing to see. And I agree with you on that. Drag Racing Mayhem has a quick question. How does it feel to be the youngest Nitro owner in NHRA?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. But it's not a good thing. I'm a big promoter of the sport, not only just of my own racing program, but I wish that I wasn't the youngest. I wish there was a 25-year-old that owned one. I'm a big fan of Cody Crone. He's a young man, almost 20 years old now. And, I tell him and his father, hey, man, if I can do anything in the world for you, let me know. He's just a great kid, and I'd love to see him and his dad out there owning a team if they could swing it, because it's cool to be the youngest guy, but I'm not young, right? The truth is I'm not a young guy. And so to be the youngest guy and own a team, I don't know about that, man. I think it's cool, but I don't think it's a good thing for the sport. I think we need, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys and girls out there less than 30 years old, owning a Fuel Funny car and a Top Fuel team. Just my opinion.
I agree.
My opinion. Yeah.
Tell them where they can find you at, buddy.
BuddyHoleRacing.com. We just redid our website. Go check it out. It's pretty awesome. We, of course, Instagram and TikTok, BuddyHole323TF. And, of course, Facebook is Buddy Hole Racing. So please check us out. Like our stuff. Hit the play button. Let us know what you think of our videos. Go on our website, buy some gear, show your support, tag us in pictures. I promise we'll share them, and we always do our best to comment back. And I love my fans, and I love NHRA. So thanks for all of you who are already following us and encouraging myself and my team to achieve our goals and our dreams, because it's deeply appreciated.
No doubt. You're one of the best, buddy. I'm glad
brother.
to have you on. We'll have you on again soon, brother.
I'm honored. Hey, I feel good because this just proves I'm not bland.
That's right.
It's just I'm not a bland guy. In your show, I can say that because I'm on your show.
That's right.
That's right.
Thanks a lot, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
That's Buddy Hull, ladies and gentlemen. And before we have on our NFL guy, I'm going to quickly show you guys that this is the last race of the season, but you are not out of the game, okay? You're not out of the game. The drag racing bracket bonanza is still available for you. You don't have to even know how to do this thing at all. You don't need to know about NHRA. All you need to do is be able to pick. So all you have to do here is you come in, you're going to have to sign up. I'm already in, I'm already logged in, but you have to sign up. Sign up, create an account here. I'll log out so you can see it. But you create an account, come in, create an account, sign in, do your little thing, sign in, come in, and you're already in. You can do it between now and Sunday morning of race day. You'll come in. These brackets will be live Sunday morning, or at the end of qualifying, I should say. Let me get that right. There will be Pro Stock, Funny Car, Top Fuel, Pro Stock bike, obviously. Now, you don't have to do all of them. You can play just one. You have the ability to win a plaque. The overall winner gets a plaque. I was an overall winner in Charlotte. You can win the class, or you can, like I said, overall and the class, each individual class. Individual class. So this is a great deal. The guys at Drag Racing Bracket Bonanza are doing an excellent job. As you see on the ticker there, the website is there for you guys to be able to go. Please do that. It is absolutely fun, and there's a belt involved. You won't be able to qualify for that, but in 2024, if you get the bug, we need you to come back. So let's do that and support it. And I hope you guys have a good opportunity to win. I just hope you don't beat me. Now, we're going to our NFL segment, and I am pleased to bring on the czar of the playbook. He is the man of football game plan. He is also on CBS Sports HQ. My man, Emory Hunt. How's it going, brother?
Doing fine, man. As always, I appreciate you bringing me on the show.
Man, you always have a wealth of knowledge. And, right in this NFL season, we've seen a lot of spectacular play, especially last week. And I'll go right into it. Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs plays quite well, and I don't think he got the credit that he deserved playing in Arizona, really having that team being respectable. They were in every game, even though the record didn't show it. They were in every game, and they were slugging it out. He comes in to Minnesota, traded just recently, can't possibly know the playbook enough to really get deep into it. And he goes out and wins the ball game. Absolutely incredible stuff from him. Are we seeing some things that we saw? I had the conversation with you a few years ago about Geno Smith. Are we seeing that same maturation process from Josh Dobbs?
You would like to see that if you're Minnesota, because that means he's going to be playing high-level ball and is going to help keep your team afloat and perhaps win the division. That's still very much gettable right now. You're 3 games behind the Lions right now, but if you have a quarterback that's playing on the Geno-type trajectory, then it puts you back in play. But I just think it shows more along the lines of the myth that people throw out there about there's not enough quarterbacks to play in the NFL. Well, we're seeing it time and time again where guys that get the opportunity to play show you they can play. And it's a difference between when you're the starter, knowing you're going to be out there game in, game out, to when you're the backup, when you don't know when you're going to play, or if you do get out there and play, you don't know if I throw incompletion, will I get pulled? Will this be my last opportunity? So I'm glad seeing guys like Josh Dobbs get out there and get an opportunity to be a starter going into a week with the full game plan. And what he did against the Falcons was nothing short of spectacular, because you talked about it. He just got out there earlier that week, didn't really know the players, let alone the plays, and was able to put together enough positive plays to get out there and get the win.
Now they have a tough matchup against the New Orleans Saints, but the New Orleans Saints do a pretty good job. They're like they allow the second least amount of like rushing yards or passing yards. Their defenses play quite well. I'm not sure if Justin Jefferson is going to be back, but if he does come back, that's a huge weapon for a guy who I believe can chuck it down the field and has a really nice deep ball.
Yeah, and the matchup in that one is probably the Vikings defense versus the Saints offense. Can they, really get it together against a quarterback that is very much inconsistent in Derek Carr? So if Josh Dobbs can just play decent football and not turn the ball over, he did have a couple of turnovers in that game against the Falcons. If he can play clean ball against a very tough Saints defense, maybe this Vikings defense can rise to the occasion. I think this game will be a lot closer than what people think.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I really, it's really cool to see guys rise up and, get an opportunity. The Rams went out and decided to kick the tires and sign Carson Wentz. From what we've seen from him since his Eagle days has not been very good. Is that meaning that he's done, or it is just he hasn't found the right system that works with his skill set?
I just think that he is what he is as a player, and maybe this opportunity could be a chance for him to rehabilitate himself into a starter type talent, like we saw Baker Mayfield do with the limited amount of reps he got last year with the Rams. We'll see. I was surprised that it took this long for a team to sign him. I thought a team like the Giants would have reached out to him. Maybe a team like the Jets would have reached out to him, but he goes into a situation with the Rams where he gets an opportunity to play. And we just talked about that there with Josh Dobbs. If he can go out there and just play, not turn the ball over, and keep this offense on pace, there's a lot of talent on that Rams team. He can help keep this team afloat and get those guys back in the conversation. Maybe not for the division because you have the 49ers and the Seahawks, but at least for that 7th spot in the wild card. So we'll see how well Carson Wentz can take advantage of this new opportunity that he's going to be presented with the Rams.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that they have some success. I really thought he should have been picked up by a couple other teams as well. Now, really cool, sensational thing that we're seeing here in a young quarterback, a guy who comes from Ohio State. Ohio State has that little stink on them that their quarterbacks don't do well in the NFL. And CJ Stroud has come in. He's looked the real deal. I thought he was the real deal coming in. And here we are going into, week 10, and this kid has 1 interception. He's throwing the ball. He's 62% of his passes completed, and he has 14 touchdowns, and he willed his team to a win in which I thought it was over at the end. I thought it was over. I thought it was going to be, something that Baker Mayfield could hang his hat on. Not to be. Tell us a little bit about what you've seen from his performance in his young career.
I find it funny with the whole the myth of the school, because if that was true, we should only get running backs from Oklahoma State. You got Barry Sanders and Thurman Thomas. We should only get receivers from Tulsa. You got Steve Largent, Drew Pearson, Howard Twilley, Brendan Marion. We should only get cornerbacks from the University of Louisiana with Ike Taylor and Charles Tillman. So it doesn't matter which school you go to. It's just about whether or not you can play at the next level. And Stroud has shown he can play. And what we saw throughout his career, a guy that was polished, a guy that works intermediate to deep down the field, reminded me a lot of Troy Aikman. I like that he has that dog mentality about his game. He's a true alpha at the position, and he's really helping lead this young football team to victories. Now he puts those guys in play for a wild card or even challenging the Jags for the top of the division. So it's not out of the question because they're sitting at 4-4 and they're trending in the right direction. He's been phenomenal for the Texans.
Yeah, I'm very impressed, but I'm not surprised. I also think, too, it is a credit to DeMeco Ryans and his coaches, his coaching staff, and his coaching ability. He's really showcasing himself right now, showing the world that he belongs and deserves to be a head coach. But I really think that dynamic of having a guy who understands, who has been there, done that, has worked hard to get to this point, really understands his quarterback, understands his team, and it's really playing out on the football field. as his players go out and they really grind out or will slug it out till the end with any team that's in the NFL, I believe.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see. It shows you that it doesn't take long to really turn a program around, turn the team around, especially at the NFL level with the amount of resources you have at your disposal in terms of the draft, free agency. And if you can get those guys all going in one direction under the same accord, you can really have success. We've seen this numerous times over the course of NFL history. First-year head coach turned things around, and we're seeing it done down there in Houston.
Yeah, and, they have the matchup against Cincinnati, a team that's really starting to catch fire. I thought they were dead in the water, but Joe Burrow's come back, and he looks like himself. The team is playing pretty well. I think this is a really good matchup, but honestly, we're looking at it, I think this is a matchup that still favors the Texans. The Texans are a team that just battles to the end. They find ways to win. And when you got a young quarterback who's protecting the football but makes great plays when necessary, it makes a team like them very tough to be able to beat. And I think the Bengals are going to have their hands full this weekend.
Should be a fun game. It's probably the most entertaining game of the weekend because of the two outstanding quarterbacks, the amount of weapons Cincinnati has, and how well they're playing also on defense. And we just talked about how well Houston is playing with C.J. Stroud at quarterback. And, it's going to be a fun matchup. This is a litmus test for the Houston Texans to see where they are right now in the pecking order of the AFC. If they can knock off Cincinnati, then, hey, we have to take Houston seriously as a playoff contender. If not, okay, then we can see where they are and how much more they have to go to where they get up to where they're catching the Cincinnati Bengals, the Jacksonville Jaguars, or the Baltimore Ravens, and someone like that. So this is a big game for not only Houston's team as a whole, but C.J. Stroud to really go out there against a very good defense and continue to throw it like he did last week against Tampa Bay and like he has done all season long.
Yeah, and you brought up Baltimore. Lamar's having a heck of a year. And I think it's underrated. He's doing a lot of things that, he was doing his MVP year. But also, I believe he's playing his best ball because he's playing how he wants to play. They're not trying to paint him inside of a box. They're not trying to force him to be a pocket passer. He's just doing what he does best. And it's allowing guys like, Gus Edwards to just be able to run the football and have really awesome days on the ground. And he didn't have to do much last week. I know fantasy owners were a little ticked. He only had like 13 points because the run game was just nuts.
Yeah, Lamar, I'm glad. That was a great point. He is playing how he wants to play. And he is the perfect distributor of the ball. It doesn't matter who's the guy, whoever's open is going to get the football. And when you have a guy like Lamar Jackson back there at quarterback, your run game is going to always be dominant, whether it's via his legs or the backs in the backfield. And we saw every back have success against the Seattle Seahawks. So, yeah, a guy like Lamar is going to enhance your run game, and he's the reason why they're playing the way they are. And their defense has really stepped up this year and been playing lights out. So it's a total team effort like it always has been under Lamar Jackson. We say this every year. Yeah. He's always at the MVP. He's in the MVP conversation at this juncture of every season. We'll see if he can finish the season the way he started it and take home his second MVP award.
Yeah, I think he's on his way. You talk about a guy or player being in the pocket. He's focused, and it's like he just can't be rattled. Now, the 49ers went out and decided to trade for Chase Young. I believe Chase has had a heck of a year in a Washington defense that is poorly coached. Coming over here now, you've got Fred Warner, you've got Nick Bosa, and Chase Young. This defense is going to eat.
Yeah, it's going to be excellent to watch these guys get out there because now you can't really slide protect to one side. You're going to generate a lot of one-on-one opportunities. And if you're a defensive end worth your salt, you're going to feast off one-on-one blocks, especially when you are of the elite talent like a Bosa, like a Chase Young, like a Armstead, like a Javon Hargrave. It's going to be phenomenal to watch those guys get out there and get after the quarterback. And it's a big reason why they made the move to go and get him and add him to this defensive line. Now you have to really pick your poison, and they can start to dictate the terms up front. We probably will see this defensive line sort of look like what Washington's defensive line should have looked like.
Yes.
We expected Washington to just truly be dominant front with all those first round picks they had, all those excellent players with Sweat, Payne, and and Young and company. So for me, watching him go out to San Francisco, I think we'll see what that would have looked like if they were able to all be on the same page, all be on the same accord, because they had their moments over there in Washington. But man, we know San Francisco can really get after it, and he's going to be another piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely. And I think this is great for Brock Purdy. I think the last couple of games, they've tried to put a little bit much on Brock's shoulders. And I know people are really quick to jump off the bandwagon on a guy, but I still think, Brock is a great quarterback. I think now this allows him to really kind of settle in. Don't feel like there's a lot of pressure to make the big play, because now their defense is even more solidified to be able to kind of hold teams to low scores and generate turnovers.
Yeah, it should be interesting to watch and see if he can stop turning the ball over and protect the ball. I know that's what was a big part of his streak of success with San Francisco. He wasn't turning the ball over. He has to get back to that in order for them to continue to move forward and try to extend their distance from Seattle.
Lastly, as a lot of talk about Dak Prescott all the time, and to me, it's a lot of negative talk, and it bothers me because I think the young man is a great quarterback, and I think they look at a lot of the things that he does wrong instead of looking at a lot of things that he does right. This team every year for a long time now has been laden with talent on the offensive side of the football. I personally believe they're missing Ezekiel Elliott in that run game. I think that really balanced everything and allowed Pollard to be able to be the guy that he wants to be in this offense. It's on Dak, but isn't it a collective effort? Isn't it also about having a competent coach that puts his players in position to make plays and not in positions where they're basically being telegraphed and the defense knows exactly what's coming and puts him in a position to force balls or to make plays?
Now, you hit it dead on once again. There's no pace setter in the run game. Pollard is great as a compliment. That's what made him great, when he had the ability to come in with fresh legs and really exploit the defense with his speed and explosiveness. Now, as a feature guy, is not the same. You think it'll be the same, but it is definitely not the same. We were saying this last year that Zeke is more important to that offense and more important to Pollard than people are giving him credit for. And as far as Dak is concerned, he's always been a top 8 quarterback, in my opinion. Some years he's top 5, some years he's number 8, but he's always been top 10 in my book. And I feel like people like to forget, on purpose, because they keep saying, it's because he's a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. And Romo went through the same thing. When Romo was there, it was all about Jason Garrett was the problem. You know what I'm saying? So now Dak is here, Dak is the problem. When you look at his advanced numbers and look at how he actually plays, you see this guy is playing above the X's and O's a lot. I like to see him do what he's done this season, and which is why he's starting to get back to that old Dak. He's starting to incorporate his legs a little bit more and just take off when things are there. Just take off and get those cheap first downs, get those hitting yards, and keep the sticks moving. We're seeing him do that more. He did that earlier in his career, which made him a true dual threat. They found a foundational back, a guy that can spell Pollard, or at least set the table for Pollard to come in and with those fresh legs and exploit the defense. Then we'll see this Cowboys offense continue to do what they've done this season. I think this is a team that will challenge Philadelphia for the NFC crown, will challenge San Francisco. I know that's their bugaboo, their nemesis, but they're still one of the top 3 teams in the NFC.
I agree with you on that. Now, I want you to plug the fact, because this guy, he's the czar of the playbook for a reason. All right. And his book on draft, that draft packet is amazing. Tell them where they can find you at, and please plug that draft packet. Everybody needs to have that in their hands.
Well, listen, you can follow me on Twitter at FBallGamePlan. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan. You can find me on CBS Sports HQ, CBS Sports Network. You'll see me on ESPN Plus this weekend as in SNY calling this Monmouth, New Hampshire game. And you can pre-order your 2024 Football Game Plan Draft Guide, the largest draft guide in existence. It has been since 2020. You can go to footballgameplan.com/2024 draft guide. Over 1,000 individual scouting reports. Again, no one will have that on virtually, I'm not going to say every player in the draft, but best believe somebody gets drafted or your team signs someone as the undrafted free agent, will more than likely have a scouting report on them, a full-page scouting report. You can find that footballgameplan.com/2024 draft guide. Get your pre-orders in now. We're looking at probably a mid to late March release, but it's going to be worth its weight in gold, not only for the draft, but also for preseason football and even during the season when your roster constantly turns over. And you're like, well, who's that guy? Well, we probably have something on him in that draft guide.
That's awesome, man. And I appreciate it. Always love working with you and being able to see you guys. Haven't been able to get out to the Senior Bowl in a bit since I've moved a little further east. But, man, love the work you're doing. Keep grinding, my friend.
You do the same, man. I always appreciate you bringing me on. I appreciate our conversations, man.
Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you soon. That is Emory Hunt, ladies and gentlemen. And, man, he's a wealth of knowledge. You guys are going to love that draft packet. It's amazing. It's great stuff. And the hits just don't stop, ladies and gentlemen. We got one more great. We love bringing in our family. And she is the president, the empress, the queen of Seawall Sports and Entertainment. She is the president. She is full force in the one running Bowie Television. You can catch her on Coaching from the Couch. She keeps it real. It's our family, Candi Waller. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Having a great show. I love this new live format that I've decided to do. And it gives me an opportunity, like I tell Lake, gives me an opportunity to showcase our family right here on this show and continue to grow our family's fan base because we have such great product and things that you guys put out. And that's different from any others.
No, I appreciate it so much. I know you have been a huge supporter, colleague for me throughout the years. So I'm really excited to be joining you. You do amazing work and you do just a tremendous job of supporting everybody. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. I truly feel honored.
Well, thanks for taking the time. Now, you work hard for the Washington Commanders, and this season has been interesting. It's been very interesting, and it hasn't gone the way that most of us in the media thought. I mean, I had us at I had them at 11 wins. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I had them at 11 wins.
Had them being second in the NFC East for sure, behind the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles are just light years ahead right now. It just is what it is from an organizational standpoint, the team, But yeah, did not expect this. Didn't expect
it at all. They went to New England though. And it was a very steady win. Mm-hmm. It wasn't pretty the whole time. There were some issues defensively that we've been seeing all year, but guys stepped up and made plays. And it was really a thing of what were we going to see on the field after two of their family members were traded? What were we going to see from them? And it was very well respectable.
Yeah, no, it no one knew, right? No one knew what to expect. We were all hoping for a win. I mean, it was already, before any of this happened, this was already a projected win on my list. Like, okay, Pat, you can get that one. But after last week, which was, not the best, and that was one of the things I pinged you about earlier. Like, hey, I'm going to share with you some things, I'll share it on your show. but last week was rough. So didn't know what we were going to get at all. So the team coming up with the win, the rookie showing up big throughout the game was a good deal. It was a good deal and a good moment for them and the team overall.
Absolutely. Forbes showed up, made plays. He played like we've seen him play in college. He seemed to be very comfortable, and he just was attacking the ball. It didn't seem like he was thinking or, worried about, am I going to miss tackle this or that? He was just out there balling, and it really helped the defense out tremendously in a lot of really tough situations that they were in last week.
Definitely. I mean, it was the confidence boost I think they all needed, but especially Emmanuel Forbes. It was nice to see him smiling again, just being amped, being who he is, showing more of his character. I know we saw it early on in the season, and then there was the first game against the Eagles, and then Chicago, he ended up getting benched, and then you didn't really see too much of him. So to see him energized, to see that confidence boost back right there with him, it was much needed.
I love what I saw from the offense as well. I've been crying for 2 weeks about another combination, and they decided to do that, and then they took it another step further coming into the Patriots game, and it's really paid dividends. Running the ball 29 times, EB's realizing he needs to have a little bit more balance. But I also like the screen game that's involved. And then having guys like De'Ami Brown and Pringle step up and make plays for the young man, Sam Howell, was really a huge boost for an offense that has kind of had its moments where it's looked completely like unstoppable, but then had its moments where it's like, what's this?
Exactly. I mean, one of the things that I'll share with you, DJ, early on was it's opportunity to be creative, and it's opportunity to spread the ball around, use a multitude of approaches. You can do that. We saw that on Sunday, and it was fun to see. You just said a name that I was like, well, would you look at that? And that was Byron Pringle. I'm like, did we all forget that Byron Pringle, and I mean, Curtis Samuel was inactive, right? And we know that Curtis Samuel's been a huge contributor throughout the season so far on the offense. So to see Byron Pringle jump right in and get involved into some of the action, it was fun, because that was definitely a name that I'm sure not too many people thought they were going to be saying on Sunday. But it was good to see EB called a great game.
He did. He really did. He needed that because he was showing a little shades of Jay Gruden-esque, and that wasn't too pretty. But he really got it back down to brass tacks, and they got things balanced, and it looked like we expect from Eric Bieniemy. Now they got the day off after this win. What now is the feeling in this locker room? What is the deal and the feeling that you're getting from Coach Rivera after this win and coming into a Seattle game that really hasn't boded well for them in Seattle?
Well, I mean, that was one of the things that I wanted to talk to Coach Rivera about today. When I asked, I said, I wanted to pull him to the side and kind of just get his take on walking me through last week to now this week. Right. And it was, how difficult was last week for you? And he told me it was tough. It was tough. He knew what the trades were going to do to the locker room. He knew, those were two very important pieces of the locker room, not just the defense, but the overall locker room. And having to just continue to share with the team that this was about opportunities. They were not calling it a season. They were not tanking. It was not over. This is about giving the younger guys opportunities. He said, and you saw that on Sunday. And so the beat is back up. The beat is back up after a win, and they're looking to continue to improve. Now, this is another opportunity. We're talking about the secondary and Emmanuel Forbes. I mean, you got DK Metcalf you got to deal with.
Yes.
And then if you think about how well the Commanders' offensive line has been doing, they got to see defensive tackle Leonard Williams again.
Yes.
Right. And he had a time with them at MetLife Stadium. So here
Sure
he
did.
is having to see them again, and I'm sure educating his new defensive line on what to do and how to do it, because they did it just a few weeks ago. So this will be a tough game. You know, much needed win, but they got to focus. You know, they got 2 days off. Right. And I had to ask Coach about that. You know, was that a result of last week? And he just said he had planned that going into the week because it's mid-season and it's hard. So he already planned that. It wasn't as a result of the win. He had already planned it. So the team didn't know it, but he had already planned to do that. And so we'll see if that helped. Jonathan Allen, Kendall Fuller both had veteran days. Jahan Dotson was out today for personal reasons. You know, and it's just mid-season. People are getting nicked up a bit. So it will be a test traveling out west. And it definitely won't be an easy game.
Yeah.
And because of this, the way Seattle just lost to the Baltimore Ravens this past Sunday, who knows what type of time they're going to be on. Seriously.
Exactly. You know, it was a tough loss for them. That was probably the worst game I think I've seen Geno play in the last 2 years. And they just looked really out of sync. My concern, you talk about DK Metcalf, but my concern with their offense is a guy who's been dormant in Tyler Lockett. You know, a lot of fantasy owners have expected a heck of a lot more out of him, and he's really kind of been MIA. They hadn't really gotten him involved as much. And these type of individuals against Washington all of a sudden come out of the grave, out of the deep, dark depths of the grave, and have a career day.
Yeah, it is definitely one that you may be watching fantasy owners say, start him, give him a shot. If he's on your bench, bring him up, because he can absolutely have a time. He can have a very solid game on Sunday. And you hate to say that. You hate to put that out there, but you have to be real in reality and understanding how we've seen the defense so far, you know, particularly the secondary, perform against top receivers. It's a reality. So this could absolutely be an opportunity for someone that they're not necessarily looking for, because even I just mentioned DK Metcalf. It's like, oh, Tyler Lockett's still there. Y'all forgot. It's an opportunity for everyone to remember that he's there.
Right. And, you know, those things are very concerning, especially the way we've seen this team play over, you know, 9 weeks. Defense has allowed some explosive plays at the most inopportune times. And now we're also talking about crowd noise. I saw Sam saying, you know, talking about the loudest crowd that he's ever, you know, been in. You know, he ain't seen nothing like this. This is a whole nother level.
Yeah.
What do you feel that EB has to do to get his quarterback comfortable? Because we all know we've seen some of the best. We've seen Kirk go there. You know, we've seen some of the best go in there and get rattled by that, you know, earthquake-like, you know, noise and fan noise. What does EB have to do to get him comfortable and be able to operate?
Yeah, and so our colleague, the legend herself, Donna Hopkins, actually asked Coach Rivera about that today in the press conference about what are they planning to do, you know, because it's so loud in there. And Coach Rivera talked a bit about the hand signals, and everybody's going to have to really be paying attention, because it is known around the league, exactly what you said, DJ, is that it is loud in there, and you cannot hear. They cannot hear. So the Seahawks, the team, they're used to it. So they know what it is. They're already prepared. They prepare all year long. They get the hand signals. They get what they're doing. They have other ways to communicate, even in their own home field crowd noise. But other teams coming in, they do not. Another thing that Coach Rivera mentioned today, which I think is an important point, it was about Jacoby Brissett and his knowledge and his expertise and just understanding the environment and how much he can be an asset as well in helping Sam Howell in this moment. There was an issue with the headsets that happened this past Sunday. They said Jacoby was phenomenal. and just helping Sam to decipher plays and what's being said and what's going on and working through that issue with the headsets. So it'll definitely be a kind of almost committee, everybody paying attention, but it's going to have to take the team. This will be a learning experience for them, especially Sam Howell, as we've mentioned, but others as well, to really be paying attention and be laser focused on what's happening on the field.
Absolutely, because the 12th man is real.
Yes.
And it will throw you for a loop. And with the defense, them going out, getting some help up front, guy who was disruptive when he played them before. You really have to be on your P's and Q's. What are some of your keys coming into this game for the Commanders to be able to have a win?
I'm going to say something that I said last week. I would like to see mistake-free football. Is that too much to ask? For week 10, we've seen enough of mistakes in the game. We saw some last week.
Yes.
Right? We saw some last week that were almost like, right?
That throw in the end zone that got picked off, I was like, huh?
Yes.
There was nobody there. What did you do? Did you panic?
Exactly. If this team, I've been mentioning this, that the best I've seen this team play was the second half of week 2 against the Denver Broncos. If this team can play a full game like that second half, it's going to be some good football to watch. So I think for this team to have a chance to beat the Seattle Seahawks over in their territory, they're going to have to be as perfect as possible. We know that mistakes happen. Got it. But you've done enough of that, right? You've done enough of that. You had to trade some pieces away in order to, we've done enough of that, and it resulted in some unexpected moves, right?
Right.
So now is the time, if you're going to make a run at the playoffs, because statistically there's still a chance.
That is true.
Straight up numbers in the NFC, there is still a chance. But if you want to get convincing, Ron Rivera teams typically play well in November.
Yes, that's true. That's true. They usually get hot right then.
Now's your chance. And to do this before you have to do what you did just a couple of weeks ago, and that's face 2 division opponents back to back.
Yeah. This is going to be the tough part of their schedule.
It is.
This is a very, very tough part of their schedule. I believe Miami is somewhere sprinkled into that.
Oh, yeah. After Thanksgiving. They got a long break after Thanksgiving because they play on that Thursday, and then they come back December 3rd. Yep.
And, this is where you got to rubber meet the road.
Yep.
And you got to get more focused. I think they got some hungry guys on defense that are happy to get the playing time and really are trying to show out. But consistency is the key. And consistency is the key to not making mistakes when you're doing your job like they have in the locker room. So,
yeah.
Seawall, tell us where we can find you at and talk shop with you.
Oh, where can we find me? Okay, so you can find me in a number of places now, right, DJ? So
yes.
If you're in the local DMV area, Prince George's County, Maryland area, you can find me on Bowie Television, Verizon Channel 11, Comcast Xfinity Channel 77, every day from 1:30 to 2:30 on my show, Coaching from the Couch. It's a Washington Commanders update as well as a weekly DMV sports update. And on the weekends, it runs during the noon hour. And you can also find all of my content on the Seawall Sports and Entertainment Facebook page and the Seawall Sports and Entertainment YouTube page as well. I mean, I'm the managing publisher for SportsIllustrated.com Inside the Wizards. So if you're a Wizards fan, go ahead and bookmark Inside the Wizards. I know they're not playing so well, but thank you so much for that. You always commend us on the content, so I really appreciate that, DJ. Seriously. And then at Seawall SE on Twitter, I'm around. You all can find me.
And tomorrow is the Coaching from the Couch show.
Tomorrow, Coaching from the Couch live. Set up. This is live. It's fun. So 7:30.
So get over there.
Yep.
When this show is done, I need you guys to hit the bell, just like you hit the bell for me. I need you to go over there, subscribe, hit the bell, so you can watch that show tomorrow. I guarantee you won't be disappointed.
I appreciate that. Looking forward to sharing the love in the audiences.
Yes. And thank you so much, C. Wall. And we will have you on again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Had a blast. Talk to you soon.
Bye. Man, what a show, ladies and gentlemen. What a show. We've had some great people on. We had some great conversations. I hope we were able to, keep you entertained for an hour. And as we close this show, this month is so please, my gentlemen, my fellas, my brothers, this is very important. So if you haven't been screened, if you haven't had your yearly checkup, if you're in need of someone to talk to, don't be afraid. I am a living testament of a person who lives and deals with PTSD and other mental health issues, and I seek help every day, every week, every month. And there's nothing wrong with that, because sometimes in this world there's so many things going on, so many things that we have to deal with. Those pressures sometimes break us a little bit, and we need a little help to get through. We need somebody to talk to clear our mind. So don't be afraid. If you are in trouble, if you're feeling low, if you feel like you're not worthy, please talk to someone. Call the helpline. That's very important. And as far as our health, don't skip on that. Don't take an early exit because you didn't take care of your health. So that's this month. So focus on that, and let's, going forward, do the best that we can as men, taking care of our mental and physical health so we can be here for our families as long as possible. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you for watching this show. It's always a blast. There's always things going on. So I thank you so much. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to hit the bricks. Good night, everybody.